Hello, everyone. Welcome to This Week in Tech. I've already got it set up. I didn't do the whole. Here we go. Oh, look. How's it going, guys? Hopefully your week's going all right. Hopefully you
Oh,
were
it's
able to
going
take some
fantastic.
time off last weekend. What?
Fantastic.
Good. Was anybody able to take time off?
No,
I
it's
definitely
off
got
most of the
some
weekends.
very last minute turn-ins, and that's okay. We'll talk about that a little bit today as part
Oh,
of
gosh.
This Week in Tech. It's connected. All right. So let's get started. We have Minecraft with ray tracing. Uh, Pretend that this
No,
video has audio. It's only 30 seconds. Make up the music in your head. You'll get to see this is official ray tracing. We've talked about ray tracing a little bit. This is it. I think it's like the first like official main use of it, like from not built from ground up, but it's pretty well in put in. So let's do this thing. Minecraft.
oh, that's tomorrow.
It's sad when Minecraft is one of the
That
best
is.
looking games.
I know, right? So we'll talk about what the difference is. I actually opinions like who likes this new look or this potential optional look, and who thinks it's
I like.
just going to be a distraction.
I mean,
I think
it
it's good.
looks good, but I feel like some people will complain about it not being Minecrafty.
Yeah, I think it seems to hit a pretty good middle ground. I know that there's been these like shaders available for years. Some of them completely change the look of the game. Some of them go too far. I think that this is like a pretty good middle ground, and it seems to be like really well implemented into the game. But we'll see. You could after like 2 hours of playing, because like nobody plays Minecraft for like 5 minutes. They're there for a while. You might get a little annoyed with it. I don't know. I haven't seen it. They didn't show any like dungeons or anything, but like it is a pretty stark difference, especially like here. This is with it on. That's with it off. On, off. So
I
that's pretty
feel
crazy.
like from a building standpoint, it's definitely better.
Yeah, I mean everything looks a lot more interesting. It might
Like
be a
I'm,
thing where you
I'm
turn it on after you're done building. Like you build a thing and then you turn it on just to admire what you did.
I don't know. Like a lot of people already use shaders, and now that they have like an
Yeah.
official thing, I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I think it's cool. By the way, just so everyone that's here, awesome, good to see you guys. If you are here, make sure you post something in the Twitch chat, text chat,
Oh,
just so it's very easy for me to look back and see like who was here. There we go. Cool, cool. All right, so let's move on to the next thing. GitHub. Some of my classes have used it. We'll only talk about this briefly because I thought some people might be interested. Um, So apparently they are like adding a lot of core features to their like free plan. So you can have, if you've used GitHub in the past, it's a really great like I don't know, it does a lot of different things, but at its core, it allows like collaboration in different coding projects. Um, it adds a lot more collaboration. Like you can have a bunch of people share a file. You can have a lot more files now, and then they dropped their lowest like monthly plan from $9 to $4. Um, you could think it's because of the whole coronavirus thing, but apparently this has been in the works for a while, and it's just changing their model, and it just kind of came out this way. They might have like rushed it for that reason. Minecraft will never be better than Black Ops 2. That's a bold statement. Bold statement. But anyway, so yeah, if you use GitHub or you have been interested, but you're like, ugh, I can only have like 2 people share this with me. Now there's more. So this one's kind of interesting. It's about ventilators. So I know that's been like all over the news recently. Ventilators. helping with people in the ICU. Right now, they're bigger than ever. There's a lot of different kinds of ventilators out there, and some of them are the kind that people can use right now, and some are like simpler, so they can't do all the same things that are needed for people that have breathing issues with pneumonia, that sort of thing. So people have found a way to jailbreak, and they're calling it air brake. Air brake. So manufacturers of these like simpler, I think they're called AirSense 10. Yeah, AirSense 10, they are ventilators that are like really simple. They only go like one way and you need like two-way air ventilators. I don't know all the details, but you need like two-way ventilators for people in the ICU right now. But apparently there's a way that people people have been able to jailbreak or air brake these things so that it can work potentially as like a device to help people in the ICU with coronavirus or like complications due to coronavirus. So they're not working. They have not given this to anybody that actually needs it yet. This is just a test. Yeah, I also saw that. Raspberry Pi will be helping to power ventilators. So like there's all kinds of crazy hacks that people are doing right now, like 3D printing parts for ventilators or like 3D printing face masks, those sorts of things. But then also from this standpoint, like using already made ventilators that just can't do all the same functions, but they're making it so they can. Basically, what the manufacturer said was something that was a significant rework of this device. Turns out maybe not. So it's just kind of cool what everyone's been able to do in such a short amount of time with all this. But yeah. So I don't know. Is anyone running into internet issues like compared to what
Oh,
their normal internet? Yeah, you are, Zachy.
yeah.
Is it just like a lot of slowdown or?
Oh, everything's been going slow. Like I'll just normally be on Discord,
Mhm.
then I'll be on like 50 other applications, but now I can only go on to like 15 instead of my usual 50.
Instead of usual 50? Do you have other people at home more so than normal or like using the internet more so than
I
normal?
haven't asked. Here, I can ask. Mama!
We're good,
Mama!
Zachy. I want to server mute
Here.
you for a minute. Anyway, so um, these problems might not be just from your internet. They could be from your Wi-Fi. So the way the Wi-Fi works is that you can actually like load it up a lot more easily than like if everyone's hardwired. A lot of businesses will have.
Yep, she said yes. She did.
Okay, she's using it a lot more than normal. Okay, Carson, yours has been doing better. That's good.
Uh,
Um, 5 minutes. Yeah, I mean, every once in a while I'm running into some small issues, but it hasn't been too bad. Um, so basically, if you're running into a lot of issues, if things are like really slow or you're coming into a lot of like connection interruptions, it might not just be your internet. So if you can hardwire yourself into your router, or there's options like Wi-Fi mesh, which hold on, like these sorts of things. These basically they're kind of extenders, but it helps connect you a little bit more reliably to different Wi-Fi router or not routers, but different nodes around your house, so that. But the cheaper way is just to connect it to your router. I could get really really technical with it, but connect to your router if you have a laptop. And well, I don't know. Do your Chromebooks have an Ethernet port? No? Okay. That's what I thought. Well, if you're using something other than your Chromebook, there you
Wait, I
go.
got a
That's a
question.
potential solution. Yeah.
How comes we have an AFK channel?
Is if you go AFK, if like, I mean, if there are times when I have a chat channel open, which I do during office hours and also during This Week in Tech, and you go AFK, you will eventually go to the AFK channel. Like it
Ah, alright.
automatically moves you if you haven't moved your mouse in a little while. It'll take you to the AFK channel.
But do you think you could move it below the This Week in Tech? Because sometimes I keep clicking on it.
Yeah, later on. I could do that.
Alright.
All right, so Apple and Google. So they're doing something. We talked a little bit about Google monitoring people last week and like giving reports out. Actually, I haven't looked at that. They might have updated some of those reports, especially for our area. But here's something else that they're doing that some people, I don't know. They're showing the privacy that they're allowing, but it is kind of a look at your device. On a device level, it's kind of breaching some privacy issues. So yeah, well, let's take this as an example. So Alice and Bob meet each other for the first time, have a 10-minute conversation. Then Bob is diagnosed with COVID-19, and then he enters test results in an app from a public health authority. So he is showing himself to be positive for COVID-19. People that have been in contact with him, their phones will exchange anonymous identifier beacons. Oh, by the way, this is happening while they're talking. Their phones are exchanging anonymous identifier beacons, little keys, like a code. And then with Bob's consent, his phone uploads the last 14 days of his keys for his broadcast beacons to the cloud. So what happens there is that Alice will then receive a notification because her phone will periodically, basically, like when you test positive, you'll say, "Hey, I tested positive." Then your little key will go up into the cloud as someone who tested positive, and then every once in a while, everyone else's phone will download the list of keys of people who tested positive, and then if you were found in Bob's anonymous identifier beacon, you'll be notified. So yeah, it's a little crazy. So here's what they're doing as far as the assurances. This Apple and Google are both doing this. Here's what the assurances are from both of them: is that there's user consent is required. So the person who tested positive has to allow their key to be posted on the cloud. It doesn't collect personally identifiable information or user location data, or at least that's what they say. So it only takes your key. And it only takes your key with your consent. So if you did not consent, it doesn't take your key. The list of people you've been in contact with never leaves your phone. So your phone, Alice's phone, has that key that she came in contact with. It doesn't go up into the cloud. It just, hey, you came near this person for a little while. There you go. Your key now is in this person's phone, and then when your phone downloads the new list, it'll show, hey, wait a second, this key was near you. Yeah, so I don't know what safeguards there are for that. Abdullah just had a good question. You could forcibly upload a bunch of keys regardless if you have it. Yeah, I don't know. You're right. You could potentially incite some panic or some people that, I mean, it could just be more people are forced to quarantine or they self quarantine a little bit more regular or, readily. But you're right. I mean, you could. People who tested positive are not identified to other users. It's just your key in your phone just lets you know that someone you came near has tested positive. It doesn't give you a name or anything. Yeah, yeah. Josh said it's a good use of this type of technology. I agree. I think this is like one of the best cases for this kind of technology. But you're right in that it could be abused, which is what a lot of people are worried about. Is especially like once we start to move on past this pandemic, um, how is this stuff going to go away? When is this stuff going to go away? Is this stuff going to go away? That's like a bunch of questions we're going to have to answer at some point. We're just, not quite there yet. Um, it'll only be used for contact tracing by public health authorities. So that's about it. It doesn't matter if you have Android phone or iPhone, works across both. So that's the main use of it. It lets you know if you came into contact with someone who's posted or who's tested positive, who consents, and who uploads their data. So it could be a way to help tracking people. A lot of people are saying, what's better than this? Just widespread testing, which probably is true. But this could be a way to help track people who have it and people who've been exposed. If you've been exposed, if you're alerted that you've been exposed, chances are you'll probably be more readily you'll probably self quarantine a little bit harder. Even if you are doing a great job already, some people aren't, and they might if they have that extra push. Yeah, I mean, Stuart, you're saying feeling that this will not go away at least for a while. Are you talking about the pandemic or these new uses of technology? Yeah, I don't know. New uses, yeah. Uh, Hopefully they will without too much of a fight. But there might be some places where we have to kind of put up a protest. We'll see. All right. So the digital divide growing greater when schools online. This has a lot to do with rural students because there are a lot of rural students that don't have broadband internet. But I know even in Lakota that there's, which is a suburban area, there's
What's a
people.
suburban area?
Suburban area is so rural is out in the farms, out in like
Oh,
farm America, and urban is the city. So suburban is kind of like the mixture, like the middle
okay, I
ground.
get it.
Yeah. So there's people who are having trouble accessing technology. I would say at least most of the people who can attend this live have at least a cell phone and mobile data, but that can be difficult. I mean, it can be really difficult to do schoolwork on that. So we're going to see a definitely huge divide among students' capabilities right now. And I just want you to know that like the district is absolutely aware of this, and uh, there's a huge push district wide to. Yeah, I mean it's still difficult to get stuff done with good Wi-Fi and good technology. Sometimes there's a lot of factors as to why students and honestly teachers can struggle right now. Um, I just want you to know that like I am doing everything I can to um, have open communication with you guys. This is kind of my ability to talk to you about this. Um, if you don't think you're going to get something done on time, I'm I know from everyone that I've talked to, everyone's being really flexible with all of that. Just let us know. Don't be afraid to let us know if you're falling behind or if you're struggling with something. Um, I think this is like the best time ever to for people to be reasonable and flexible. So just remember that. If don't worry if you're like, man, I'm so behind in this one class. I don't even know what to do. My teacher's trying to talk to me. If I mess up too, just let me know. Or if you're like you're not being very reasonable, let me know. I'll do my best. I mean, you have to do a certain amount of remote work, but I'm not going to ask too much of you. And I know that some of you guys have difficulty accessing technology. So yeah, there you go. That was my excuse to talk about that really quickly. So Zoom, we talk about it every week because they have privacy issues. And now they brought in the former Facebook secretary. I forget what's his name. Alex Stamos, formerly the chief security officer at Facebook. Um, so they are doing what they can. So like Zoom definitely dropped the ball when it came to privacy and security, and they do seem to be doing everything they can now to fix the problem. It's definitely later than it should have been. Um, and I will say, I'm sure Alex Stamos is probably pretty good, but man, Facebook had some horrible security breaches not like a few years ago. So I don't know if Alex Stamos wasn't was in charge then, but but I still think, I mean, the scale of Facebook and Zoom probably different. Zoom's huge right now, but I feel like Facebook's got to still be bigger. Um, so we'll see. It's probably maybe Alex will help bring some stability. Also, he's just coming in as a consultant, so they're doing what they can. But still, there's a lot of issues at play right now. Zoom passwords got leaked, didn't they? Did they? I don't remember. There's like every other day. There's like, hey, by the way, you can access anyone's account information at any time, or like all kinds of things like that. So I don't remember if their passwords got leaked or if it was just a bunch of different issues, or like iOS security was non-existent to the point where you could just access everyone else's information without even trying.
Could you access the teacher's information?
Nope. No, we're all behind an education license, so we don't have individual like accounts that way. We didn't sign up
Ah.
for our own. Or I mean, I guess they're technically supposed to use that, but yeah, we'll see. Are we gonna talk about Valorant? Yeah. There's a couple. I'll be honest with you, I don't know every single detail about those, but we will talk about Valorant a couple different ways. All right, so Google is there's plans for Google to dump Qualcomm in the next couple of years as a chip. I realize that smartphone hardware is probably not everyone's like the thing they love, the thing they go to. But I will say Qualcomm has been the big name in chips for everything that's not iOS, everything that's not Apple for like years now. But it's also becoming a big reason why smartphones are like $1,200 because they're getting really expensive. So Google, I think their Pixel 4a has either the step down from the 865, like the big Qualcomm chip, and then they're working on making their own processors in the next few years. So we'll see. And they say they can use it with their phones or their Chromebooks, that sort of thing. So it might and hopefully it's good competition for Qualcomm because they currently have almost no competition except for Apple phones. So hopefully Google does that because we need some competition. It's kind of ridiculous having a $1,200 cell phone being like the standard. And I just thought this one was kind of interesting. If you don't know COBOL, which is a programming language, don't go and learn it. But right now, I mean, you could, I guess, but right now there's like a huge need for it. So COBOL was made in the 50s. Yeah, 1959. And is pretty obsolete overall. But we're finding right now that it's used in a lot of older systems like unemployment. So there's a lot of people that have unfortunately applied for unemployment recently. And COBOL isn't made to scale. So if you have a bunch of people that are all going in for unemployment right now, and it's like overloading their systems. So they're trying to train COBOL programmers or find like retired COBOL programmers because it's like it's been obsolete for so long that there aren't that many people who know how to program in COBOL unless they've probably worked for these unemployment services, or there's a few other systems that are kind of hard pressed right now. But yeah, I kind of was surprised that something so big was still running on COBOL. But the fact is, it's a risk to completely overhaul a system like that, because you have security pretty in place with COBOL. It's stable. It's worked for decades. So like, why would you want to spend a bunch of money, risk an attack because security isn't in place,
Hey, Dory, it's Sean
or
Keller.
instability?
It's about
Here,
12:30
I'm gonna
on
real
Wednesday.
quick. There we go. Um, so yeah, by the time that you learn COBOL, you probably won't be won't be useful anymore. So don't go out and learn it unless you really want to. But they're looking for a bunch of people who know COBOL.
Is it easy?
I have no idea. I've never seen COBOL.
Might use it.
You could. I doubt it's very easy because it's an ancient language.
I'll give it a shot. Why not?
There you go. Yeah. Hey, they're hiring. You guys might be able to find a job.
Ah, sweet.
All
How much
right.
do they pay? Does it say how much?
Probably a bunch. That's what I've heard. Actually, there was someone in the comments that said that they retired in 2007. Hold on a second. Who was it? They retired in 2007, but they hadn't used COBOL since 1988 or something. And maybe it's not there anymore. Oh, it might be in here. And they've gotten contacted multiple times. Oh, here we go. In 1988, retired in 2007. He's been called multiple times for like amazing salaries. Like, please come back. Like, we found your name in an old system. So they're like really desperate for COBOL developers right now.
Sweet.
Anyway, so let's talk about fashion. Fashion that specifically hides you from cameras. So there's a bunch of people that are coming up with shirts in a line of fashion. Like these students came up with a shirt that, like this shirt with its colors and arrays and kind of like it makes it look like it's looking out in the distance, is fooling the camera into thinking this isn't a face. So like the camera is identifying most of these other people or a bunch of these other people, but not identifying this person. So there's like a whole group of people or a bunch of groups of people that are trying to find different ways to fool full cameras, full security cameras. Like this person, adversarial fashion, is protesting the use of like cameras that keep track of license plates by having a fashion line that fools license plate reading cameras with a bunch of junk data, so that because they feel like with so many cameras around and people driving their car everywhere, it's a perfect opportunity for people to basically track your location wherever you go. So they're protesting
So
it
does
by
that mean that you
making.
could rob a bank with the shirt and no one would find out?
No, this shirt is more of a protest than anything, but it just it's there to put in some junk data into the cameras. Um, unless everyone started wearing these, it's not going to be enough to truly fool the system. Plus, there's a bunch of other systems in place, um, but that's one way. Another way has a bunch of hairstyles that will show you like how to fool um, cameras. It won't work on all cameras, and also you look like this, but apparently this fools a bunch of cameras.
Hmm.
How many crimes get solved by the yeah. I mean, I will say there are crimes that get solved by this method of investigation. There's a reason why those cameras are put in place in the first place, or like why people think it's a good idea to have location tracking services or ways to follow like criminals, especially from a scene of the crime. Um, uh, this is people who there's a line of privacy that they want, and they feel like that's crossing the line. So you're always going to have that line between like security and freedom, and your own personal spot for that line is just going to be different. People do get caught from crimes by using license plate or phones. They use a lot of phone data. Uh, Police can use their phone data to find where they are, to find if they committed that crime or not. I mean, this is all true. But yeah. Also, this was another thing that was linked in there was hacking street signs with stickers. So, hold on, my computer was like slow down. All right. So people were able to trick self-driving cars with just things like love, hate, stop. Like this actually wasn't that good. It did 2 out of every 3 times it fooled self-driving car cameras. But something like this made cars think that the speed limit was 45 miles an hour. Just a few little little stickers basically. This one actually is a full-on like replica of the stop sign that they place over the stop sign, and it's just very blurred out images that fool the cars again into thinking it's a 45-mile-per-hour speed limit sign. Why would people do that though? This is research. So these are most of the stuff that I cover that's like new methods are found that can trick this thing. A lot of times it's not the hackers or the people committing crimes. It's like research companies that are trying to find vulnerabilities in a system. So right now these are actual researchers saying like this is tricking these cars, so we have to fix this problem. So yeah, that's what it most of the time is.
Oh, Mr. Buck, I got a quick question.
Go for it, Zachy.
So do you remember the ray tracing thing for Windows 10 that you were talking about?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, didn't Java have that for like a few months?
Java?
Yeah.
Oh, are you talking about Minecraft? Yeah, I think
Yeah.
Minecraft had. I know people have been able to use ray tracing before. I don't know all the details on it. I don't know if it was the Java version. I know that people have been able to access Minecraft ray tracing before, but I think it was for a limited time. And now this is still a beta, but I think it's going to be out for a while.
All right.
All right. So Valorant. Let's talk about Valorant. A couple things. So they've done a few. So this is a new game made by Riot Games, right? Right? Riot Games. League of Legends people. I don't know. It looks like
Yes.
yeah.
Right.
Okay. It looks like Counter Strike, and also Overwatch, but more like Counter Strike. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of Riot Games, although I don't really like LoL, so you know that's potentially why. So apparently, this is it's not out yet, right?
No, it's currently in a closed beta where you require a key. It's gonna go into open beta probably around the summer, and then
Okay.
release early fall, late summer.
Gotcha. So in order to get into the closed beta, I think people are having to watch like a certain amount of time of like uh, I don't know what did they use? Allowed streamers or like a list of streamers that hey watch this and you're supposed to like interact with it or like it shows how much you've interacted with that or like stayed on that screen and actually watched the streamer. And then it's
Yeah.
randomly giving you access to the game. It's not even giving you keys because you could sell those keys. Um, it's just giving you're connecting your Twitch account with your is it a Riot account? I actually don't know. It's not a Riot account, but what do you how do you get into League of Legends? Or I guess Valorant might be different. I'm not sure. No, you can do that through Steam. So it might be your Steam account. I actually don't know. Anyway, but it allows access to it once you've done some random thing. I guess people don't know exactly what that is yet, but it involves watching streamers that have been approved. And the reasoning behind this is it's free to play, but there's some barrier to entry, so that I'm assuming this is going to continue once it's actually out, to where you can't just make a bunch of accounts and like it might help against cheaters or against people who grief a lot or get banned. It might help only people who are serious about the game get in. Meant you couldn't get turn it around and sell it on eBay. Uh, savvier Valorant player, so you can also learn about the game. I guess that's their whole like real mentality, and that's part of the mentality behind it is that you can learn how to play using those people as a guide. Because it is like CS, Counter Strike, which can be kind of a hard barrier of entry. Counter Strike is a difficult game.
From what I've heard about like the future of the game,
Mm-hmm.
that they're just gonna keep doing this release key things for quite a while, and then
Okay.
it's eventually gonna hit like public, and
Okay.
then anyone can create an account for free. You don't have to watch a streamer.
Gotcha.
But I mean, other things do this, like Siege Pro Leagues. If you watch the streams, you get in-game charms and stuff. I think Overwatch does it same with loot boxes. There's a lot
Yeah.
of like things that Twitch has where like you link it with an account and based off of view time. So I believe the way it works is just if you're watching based off the number of hours you have on these dedicated streams, it's
Yeah.
literally just pulls random from people with 5-10 hours plus.
Gotcha. Okay. Interesting. Well, yeah, I know I've connected some accounts. I've gotten like stuff in Siege before from Twitch. They do that a lot. And I know some people aren't a huge fan of connecting all of their accounts like that, and which makes sense. It's an interesting take on this whole concept. It might work. I don't know. They say it's to weed out toxicity, but I'm like, this is Riot Games. I'm like, from everything I know about League of Legends, it's also like CS. It's like Counter Strike. So kind of toxic communities, but we'll see. So speaking of Valorant and Riot Games, their anti-cheat measure that gives gives the game kernel level access. Which, if you don't know, okay, see you, Robert. Good to see you, man. Which, if you don't know, I won't go into too many details, but it basically, here's a quick visualization, is that like on your computer, applications have some amount of privileges. And then things like device drivers, some of them are a little bit more privileges on your computer to change things. Oh, that's what you just did, that this thing. And then some heavy level device drivers get even more access to your hardware and your Windows, your Microsoft Windows. And then Ring Zero kernel. That means they get full privilege. So it's giving the game full privilege, which actually has been done before a little bit. So like I think it's Easy Anti-Cheat or BattleEye. Also has kernel level permissions. But that is a whole service that is sold as like a subscription to a bunch of developers to help fight against cheaters. So it's like its whole purpose is to be sold to different developers making different games. So like it's about as secure as you can get. But this is a developer having access, like kernel level protection, or kernel. Yeah, it's protection against cheaters. So it's technically protection, but I'm sure they don't have that same level of security. They said that they would respond within hours if there ever was some sort of attack. We'd work with Microsoft to get any vulnerable driver blacklisted. Yeah, BattleEye only in use when the game's launched. Yeah, it's from boot up. Yeah, that's true too. Sam was saying Valorant's is when you turn on your computer, their anti-cheat starts, and BattleEye only happens when you're using a game that uses BattleEye. So while there are cheaters that or like different cheats that use kernel level permissions, people are saying that this is kind of too far for not that great of a help to the game. It's very easy to get others' information this way. Yeah. So like Riot says they won't do anything with this this vulnerability, that level of permissions, but that doesn't mean that someone can't use this as a door to get into your computer, basically. So we'll see. I don't know. I mean, it's giving them a lot of access, and I don't know if they necessarily have the ability to do that securely. But anyway, we're gonna finish this week in tech with Animal Crossing being banned in China. So we talked about Hong Kong protests. They've been going on for more than a year now. And now that people can't really be out in the streets, they are protesting via Animal Crossing by making flags and different designs that are in protest of China. Free Hong Kong, Revolution Now, stuff against the president, or is it president? I can't remember. So yeah, you see people with face masks, that sort of thing. And so a lot of people were doing this, and so China decided we're dropping Animal Crossing. So that's what happened. Is it Prime Minister? Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's Prime Minister. This isn't the first time that China has done this. Did they? I can't remember if they did the same thing with Overwatch or not. But Overwatch, for a little while, they made May a symbol of the protest, like people did. Oh no, that's right. They didn't get banned because Blizzard Blizzard chose like to side with China to keep that sale. So yeah, May specifically was banned. So this isn't the first time. It won't be the last. Winnie the Pooh was banned in China because people started saying that their prime minister looked like Winnie the Pooh. It's kind of crazy. Someone has one more thing for Josh has one more thing for Riot Games, but yeah. So this is the newest in that long line of what? Wait, what? Really? So hopefully Animal Crossing doesn't get a patch soon that says you can't make custom things now because they want that China market. But we'll see. I found out Riot. Oh yeah, Riot is owned by Tencent. Yeah, but a lot of people are. But yeah, Tencent is a giant Chinese conglomerate that owns a lot of different media. In fact, they made. Oh yeah, I watched the Mister Rogers movie last night. Uh, not last night, the other night, and that was made by Tencent. Or like it had. Hold on, Mister Mister Rogers movie. What is it called? I can't remember. They're all named the same thing. Not Won't You Be My Neighbor. A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. Hold on. Boop. I don't know if it's the same Tencent or not, but I saw at the beginning of it. Whatever. There was a board for Tencent on it, so I thought that was kind of interesting. Like a little like after Paramount or whatever, Universal Pictures, Tencent. So I don't know if they're making movies now or not, but that's crazy if they are. But yeah, that's all that I have. Before you leave, if you haven't done anything in the chat, in the text chat, make sure you send a chat or something, a message into the Twit chat text field or text channel. So just make sure you do that. Does anyone else have anything that I might have missed or any questions like that about This Week in Tech? If not, I'll stay on for some office hours stuff for a little bit. But for now, it's just This Week in Tech stuff. And actually, I'm going to stop the recording. See you guys who are watching the recording.